Liam, massive performance on Saturday. You must have been delighted with the way everything's going at the minute.
Yeah, lads were terrific on Saturday. I thought it was a really good performance. I thought especially out of possession. You look at the defensive setup, what we obviously the game plan that we had, and again, often say it, but credit to the guys in terms of executing it. I think you can create lots of plans and have all ideas of how the game looks, but it then takes the guys to show real discipline, intensity, and focus to execute the plan. And I thought they were terrific at that, and we looked really dangerous on the counter and scored a couple of really good goals. So yeah, delighted with and for the players.
I'm doing it in a big stadium in big atmospheres, and something that the team will have to face at some stage, especially if they get promoted. That's the sort of thing that they'll be coming up against every week. But not showing any sort of fear or being overawed by the occasion. That's just as massive as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think as well, you have to take into account the group we've got. We've got a lot of young players that are, it's a new experience for some of them playing away in front of 30,000 that are, at such a big club. Especially when you take into last season that, was impact of COVID, playing in front of empty stadiums is completely different when you go away. And momentum's so big in football that understanding how you change it, how you shift it, how you can turn a positive atmosphere into a negative one. I think they're things that you can't replicate that on a training pitch. A lot of that comes with experience and feeling at that given time. So I thought the lads have really progressed at that over the course of the season, and it's something that we've spoken about regularly. And how we manage that and how we deal with those situations. And I thought we did that really well. Especially second half. I thought how we shifted, especially the response to their goal. I thought how we got ourselves, back on top. I thought we did a really good job of it, and definitely, you look at it, the away fans definitely helped on that front. I thought, it's a long journey for them, and obviously sitting up there where they were, I thought they made a real good noise in, such a big stadium with such a big home following. That the big thing was we could actually hear the fans behind us, which was massive, and I think you see that in the end when the emotion the guys show. To win the match, and then how they want to go straight to the away fans to celebrate. I thought it was a real special moment, hopefully for the fans and players.
Must have a lot of players banging on your door at the moment, asking for starting positions. We mentioned it on Saturday, didn't we? That you haven't quite got the core of your side. It doesn't almost pick itself every week that there are people in those wings waiting. But there must be a lot of players coming to you now saying, Gaffer, what have I got to do to get a start?
Yes. You ask any manager, head coach, it's the hardest part of the job is leaving people out. I think the key to it is obviously as a staff when we pick a team and we sit down, and it's such a difficult process. I think when you look at it, it's picking people that are on form, picking people that actually you need to be a little bit more patient with to get them through a period. There's picking people that actually, given how the opposition we think are going to set up, how we get success in that game, for example. So there's so many factors that go into picking a team. It's not just, who are the best 11, for example. I think there's so many factors that we take into account, and, it's not a decision we make lightly. We understand that everybody wants to play, and I think, what the squad has done a terrific job at is keeping everybody, on track, on focus, and feeling part of it, because, ultimately we can only be as good and as strong as the depth of the team. And I think huge credit to the guys that are in the team, not in the team, in how they handle that, and their attitudes and their focus once we've done that. So the group's in a good spot on that front. I think people have to be ready to step in and deliver when called upon, and for me it's almost good that we have some really hungry players ready to prove a point.
Some of those changes come along when one of your players picks up 10 bookings. Daniel Harvey obviously is going to miss the next couple. Does that offer the opportunity to Kane Kessler-Hayden, who you got on deadline day, to come in and make an impression?
Yeah, something that we obviously had a look at Charlton, and obviously we knew Dan was on that that tightrope of 9 bookings, so it was something that we'd kind of had in the back of our head. And there's numerous options, obviously. Whether we change system again, whether we stay as we are, and obviously like for like changes. I think it's one that we've been discussing for a little while in terms of what's the best transition. So I think it's one we're looking at, one we were quite aware of, and one we're ready for.
On the deadline day signings, I suppose it shows the strength of your side going through January, that we've not really seen an awful lot of them as yet.
Yeah, and it's tough, obviously. When you're a new signing as well, you want to hit the ground running and show what you can do, etc. And The key to it, I think, is communicating with the players. I think they're not, they're intelligent as well. I think they understand the situation, and we spoke early on that, they're joining a team that's actually been doing extremely well. So, there is an element where you have to be a little bit patient and make sure that you're physically and mentally ready when, that opportunity arises. So I understand it's obviously challenging for some of the players, but, again, I can't speak highly enough how the guys have responded. Their attitudes have been good and they're training right every day.
One of your other January signings we've just spoken to, Jamie Cumming, he's fitted in with seemingly no problems from where we can see. How do you reckon he's got on so far?
Yeah, I've been really pleased with Jamie. I think he, he's one we'd obviously been watching for a little while, so we were quite confident that he would fit our group and fit us as a club, and I think his transition into the team has been smooth. He's done really well. I think when you look at his contribution, he's played a huge part in terms of little things that coming and taking some of the set pieces he does has been massive for the the group to ease pressure, but it also then affects the type of delivery the opposition put in the box. So I think when you look at it, he's been a a huge asset to us, and the challenge is to keep improving him, keep making him better, keep stretching him, and I think that's what what we're all here driven by is around not being content, not being happy with what we're doing, but ultimately looking at what areas we can get better at. And again, he's a great example of that. That he's constantly challenging Pricey on things that he can do to be better.
You mentioned that it's probably more of a mental thing playing for MK Dons compared to playing for Gillingham, because when he was at Gillingham, he was under a lot more pressure, whereas at MK Dons, those shots are seemingly few and far between, aren't they? But he's he's got to be on his toes the whole 90 minutes to keep them out.
Yeah, it's obviously it's a little different for him. I think not just in terms of shot stopping, but also what we ask him to do with the ball. I think and that's again when you look at his background, we knew him coming through at Chelsea that actually he'd be good with his feet. So I think it's not only the on pitch adaptation you have to go through, whether it's making less saves or playing short. There's also that, how do you integrate yourself into a new group in the middle of a season when the team's up and running? And again, I think credit to him and his character that the lads have he's quickly been accepted into the group and is an integral part of it.
On to tomorrow night then, another big ground to be going to. It's one that you've played at already this season, but it's going to be significantly different to that Papa John's Trophy game, isn't it?
Both sides I think teams will look slightly different, so I think there's not huge amounts we can take from that game, but at the same point, like you said, it's a big club with a big history, and a big following, so we know it's say every week another extremely difficult game that we're going into, so I think it's controlling what we can, focusing on what we can, and that's how all the preparation that we do going into the game.
Confidence must be sky high though, given the way that you're playing of late, and performances on the road, and not to mention Charlton's sort of in different form at the minute. But you guys must be going into every game, on the crest of a wave.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Confidence. I think on a spectrum, you have to keep it in that sweet spot. I think you have to take momentum, from good performances and good results, but it only has to shift, too far to the higher end, and it can quickly come back and teach you a lesson. So I think the group are in a good spot. I think we've said it numerous times, and confidence is a great example of not getting too high or too low. You know what I mean? We don't want to get too high and too carried away. We want to continually, turn up and do what we've done. And I think the second you take your eye off it and you think you've cracked it, then you're in big trouble. You get a bit of a wake up call. So I think that that's what I like about our group at the minute. Do you know what I mean? They're very focused. They're very clear in what it is that we have to turn up and do week in, week out to perform to the level they have. So yeah, I think they're in a good spot. I think we have to keep them there, and I think that's the exciting bit. What more can we do?